Alright, buckle up. Anime and manhwa fanatics, because we're plunging headfirst into the electrifying world of solo leveling and the meteoric rise of the underdog-turned unstoppable force. Sung Jinwoo, in a reality teetering on the brink, where humanity's only shield against monstrous annihilation are the magically empowered hunters, we meet Jinwoo, the infamously weak E-rank hunter perpetually battling just to survive another dungeon crawl. But destiny, as it often does, has a game-changing twist in store. After a near-fatal encounter within a brutally powerful double dungeon that decimates his entire party, a cryptic entity known only as the System selects Jinwoo as its exclusive player. This bestows upon him an unprecedented and ridiculously rare ability, the power to level up his strength, shattering all known limitations and catapulting him into a realm of unimaginable potential. From that moment, Jinwoo embarks on a relentless odyssey, a thrilling gauntlet against a relentless onslaught of foes, both monstrous and human, each battle a step further into the abyss of the dungeon's secrets and the enigmatic origins of his newfound powers. Solo Leveling, a webtoon sensation born from Chugong's gripping web novel, brought to life with the stunning artistry of Dubu, Redice Studio, and the compelling narrative of H-Goon, has captivated millions. And if you've been following my channel, you'll know I've been dissecting similar epic series arc by exhilarating arc. But now, it's time to zoom out, take a breath, and deliver the ultimate no-holds-barred review of the entire Solo Leveling saga. Confession time. I was a latecomer to the Solo Leveling party. Despite the deafening hype, I hesitated. Leveling manhwa was uncharted territory for me, and the commitment to an unfinished series always felt like a perilous investment. Clearly, my track record isn't stellar. However, with the series reaching its epic conclusion last December, I finally took the plunge, and let me tell you, the hype is real. It was a journey, longer than anticipated, but I finally get what all the fuss is about. That being said, it wasn't a flawless victory for me, and I've got some thoughts on its shortcomings that I'm eager to unpack. But make no mistake, dismissing Solo Leveling as just another action-packed brawl fest would be a colossal error. Beneath the surface of relentless monster slaying lies a surprisingly multifaceted narrative with something for every kind of reader. Craving compelling characters? Buckle up for the Jinwoo Show, a masterclass in protagonist evolution. Yearning for intricate plotlines? The arc-based structure delivers satisfying narrative chunks. Hungry for immersive world-building? Prepare to delve into a universe brimming with unique rules and hierarchies. If you're keen to revisit my individual arc reviews, I'll be sure to link them below for your convenience. But for now, strap yourselves in, because we've got a mountain of solo leveling goodness to explore in this comprehensive review. Let's lock and load the details. Let's kick things off with a visual feast. The character designs in Solo Leveling are undeniably gorgeous. The artistic team knocked it out of the park with a cast of undeniably pretty characters. However, I did stumble upon a curious inconsistency, particularly with Jinwoo and Jinha. Jinwoo's eye color seemed to fluctuate between gray and black, while Jinha's hair danced between dark brown and purple. The intention behind this remains a mystery to me, but it was an odd detail that snagged my attention. Now, the adrenaline-pumping fight scenes. They were a bit of a wild ride to follow. Unlike the panel-by-panel layout of manga, Webtoon's long vertical format sometimes resulted in awkward reading experiences, forcing you to scroll to grasp the full scope of the action. Adding to the visual chaos were panels often saturated with motion blur, blinding flashes, and a flurry of onomatopoeia. When it came to the text itself, I have few complaints, barring a single spelling hiccup I spotted. Manhwa, like manga, generally excels at seamlessly integrating the right amount of text and context within speech bubbles. I also appreciated the dynamic use of color in the text boxes to reflect the shifting atmosphere of the scenes, moving beyond the standard black and white. Here's where your personal reading preferences might heavily influence your enjoyment. If you're not a fan of relentless action or find overpowered, OP protagonist off-putting, your chances of fully embracing Solo Leveling might be slimmer. However, don't write it off just yet. Many readers who initially shared these reservations found themselves surprisingly captivated. Circling back to the fight scenes, while visually sometimes chaotic, there was also a peculiar sense of not enough fighting, despite the series being heavily action-oriented. Many anticipated clashes, including those I personally looked forward to, often felt surprisingly short-lived, which was a tad disappointing. That being said, there's certainly no shortage of action sequences. If you're craving a series with a protagonist who consistently kicks ass and emerges victorious, then Solo Leveling definitely delivers on that front. One of the series' strengths lies in its immersive sense of progression. Because of its significant length and my deliberate pacing, by the time you reach the end, Jinwoo's initial transformation feels like a distant memory. This allows you to truly appreciate the monumental journey he's undertaken, witnessing his profound physical and mental evolution. Speaking of progression, the narrative masterfully showcases Jinwoo's growth as a hunter. The early arcs throw him into seemingly unwinnable scenarios, only to revisit them later when his power has scaled to a point where he can now dominate. This clever narrative technique also allows for the organic and thorough development of numerous subplots. The core of the story is, in essence, a thrilling chronicle of Jinwoo's ascent to power as he confronts increasingly formidable adversaries. There's a larger, overarching narrative simmering beneath the surface, gradually unveiled as the story unfolds, but delving into that would venture into spoiler territory. While I wasn't always the most invested in this deeper lore, my overall enjoyment of the series remained undiminished. Let's dissect the magic system, or rather, the system as it pertains to Jinwoo. It's remarkably accessible, particularly for anyone familiar with video game mechanics, as it's fundamentally based on a standard RPG leveling system. Complete quests, earn experience points, level up your stats, and reap the rewards. Simple, intuitive, and undeniably effective. One aspect I genuinely appreciated was the creative team's restraint in handling the system. While Jinwoo undeniably becomes incredibly overpowered, his abilities are intrinsically tied to the specific job classes he earns. He doesn't suddenly possess an arbitrary arsenal of every power imaginable, a narrative pitfall I'm always grateful to see avoided. The on-page presentation of information was also a highlight. Whenever Jinwoo acquired a new item, its detailed description would pop up, providing an engaging and informative way to dispense crucial details about the world and its mechanics. Regarding the other hunters, they are categorized by rank, E to S, based on their awakened mana levels, and then further classified by type, tank, assassin, mage, etc. While the ranking system effectively illustrates the power disparities, the types were introduced somewhat haphazardly, often only mentioned when a character embodying a specific type appeared on the page. A definitive list of hunter types would have been a welcome addition to the world building. One peculiar observation I made was the apparent scarcity of usable items. While we see Jinwoo wielding physical weapons, the use of healing potions or other consumable items was surprisingly rare. Given the prominent role of items in most gaming systems, their limited use, seemingly justified by Jinwoo's increasing strength, felt somewhat illogical. The most significant shortcomings of Solo Leveling, in my opinion, lie within its character development, particularly concerning the supporting cast. Understandably, the narrative laser focuses on Jinwoo, often pushing potentially fascinating side characters to the periphery. Numerous intriguing individuals with promising character arcs either met premature ends or simply didn't receive the screen time they deserved, which was a genuine shame. This issue permeated the entire supporting cast. Take Hae-in, for example, one of the very few prominent female characters, a topic that could warrant its own discussion. While her introduction generated considerable excitement among readers, her character arc ultimately felt underwhelming. As an S-rank hunter, I anticipated a formidable ass-kicking woman, but her actions throughout the series were surprisingly limited. Perhaps influenced by the story's male authorship, Hae-in often felt relegated to the role of eye candy and a romantic interest for Jinwoo. Speaking of romance, the development of romantic relationships in Solo Leveling felt rushed and underdeveloped. The connection between Jinwoo and Hae-in seemed to jump from 0 to 100 with little to no organic buildup of mutual feelings. The story, frankly, didn't even necessitate a romantic subplot in the first place. But let's get back to the broader supporting cast. I longed for more meaningful interactions between characters who exhibited compelling dynamics. I also simply desired more screen time for intriguing figures like Jaegung. Despite being hyped as the strongest hunter aside from Jinwoo, his appearances were fleeting, and we never truly witnessed his power in action. It felt strange for the narrative to build up these characters only to leave their potential largely unexplored. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, Solo Leveling does boast a roster of genuinely interesting characters, and I did find myself growing attached to several of them. Some truly heartwarming bonds were forged between characters that I genuinely loved, and I even found myself emotionally invested in certain characters in pivotal scenes. Now, having addressed the supporting cast, it's time to shine the spotlight on our main man, Sung Jinwoo. As a protagonist, Jinwoo effectively served his narrative purpose. If you're looking for a character who consistently grows stronger and rarely tastes defeat, then Jinwoo is your guy. However, what elevates Jinwoo beyond a simple OP archetype is the gradual nature of his progression. He begins as the infamously weak E-rank hunter and steadily climbs the ranks, facing monsters appropriately scaled to his current power level. The narrative doesn't throw him against overwhelmingly powerful beasts early on without consequence. He often endures significant beatdowns, emphasizing that his power scaling, while rapid, isn't instantaneous or without struggle. Alright folks, that's the Solo Leveling deep dive. I know, it was a lot. But hey, Jinwoo's journey deserves the epic treatment, right? If you've made it this far, you're either a hardcore fan, incredibly patient, or maybe you just fell asleep with the video playing and woke up to my soothing voice. Either way, thanks for sticking around. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go level up my own life skills. Maybe I'll find a system that lets me gain pan to charisma every time I make a witty joke. Wait, did that one land? I'll work on it. Anyway, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss my next video, where I'll probably be rambling about something equally nerdy. Until then, stay awesome, and try not to get trapped in any double dungeons.